Jericho Sunfire is a former professional rugby player who played for the Oldham Rugby League Football Club and London Crusaders in Great Britain. After years of being a fruitarian, liquidarian, and waterian, he gravitated toward breatharianism. He explains that being food-free helps us to develop and discover our inner self.
Can you tell us why being a breatharian is so important to you?
The fact that I'm a breatharian simply is that it's all about developing your human potential and your intuitive self.
So can you tell us a little bit about human potential?
Well, I believe that human potential is basically what you make of it. We are already capable of infinite things that we don't even know about, you know, that science hasn't even touched. That can't even explain. So to me, human potential is basically, to put in layman's terms, getting everything else out of the way that can possibly sabotage your development.
What is maximum human potential in your concept?
In my concept, it's what you make of it. It's literally what you want and how much you want it and what you're willing to actually do to be the best you can be. In fact, to even surpass who you think you can be.
So what do we need to do to attain our maximum human potential?
You have to be willing, in my opinion, to live the life and walk the walk. You have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to make sacrifice. You have to be willing to go through the fire. Pretty much. It's, to me, life and personal development is kind of like a stage of initiations. And if you don't get through these initiations, and you don't get through certain parts of life.
So would you tell us about what are the obstacles to overcome to reach our maximum human potential?
Mental is the main thing. In fact, to me, it's the big one. If you can't develop yourself or develop the art of letting go, then you're not going to get very far.
And so when you say letting go, are you talking about habits, addictions?
Yeah, sabotaging behaviors, the past, relationships, generally things that hold you back. And you have to be open. You have to make yourself vulnerable and open to change.
To aid him in his self-development, he chooses to use the name Jericho Sunfire.
Jericho Sunfire, that's a indestructible, unstoppable force of nature that I felt was necessary to develop because of a new stage of my life.
Perhaps his sense of self and inner strength is a result of his upbringing. He was raised single-handedly by his mother. Thus, he learned to fend for himself at an early age and developed a love for animals.
My life as a child, I would say, was pretty tough in comparison to many. My mother's West Indian and my dad's South American. So discipline or disciplinary methods were quite harsh and blunt at times. And you know, back in the 70s, my mother was a single parent and she was young, and maybe she didn't make the right choices, but she made the choices she made, and my childhood, even though she provided me with everything I needed, I pretty much very rarely got what I wanted. Maybe in the love and the attention areas. So I had to kind of fend for myself. I was very much a loner as a child, and I kept myself to myself. I was very sensitive, extremely sensitive. I loved everything to the bone.
He was a good student in school and was recognized as an outstanding athlete.
So tell us about your involvement in school. How were things in school for you?
Fantastic. I was a busybody at school. I was like a nerd, one of the class nerds. One of the things that my mother always did is that she always got me the books that I wanted. And I can tell you, I had pretty much every bird book, star book, fish, anything to do with nature. I had a book on it. And I would actually read it, and I knew quite a bit. So for me, school was a very enjoyable time, academically.
So as you got a bit older, as you were a teenager and a young adult, tell us about your involvement in sports.
Man, sports were big. Since, I would even say nursery school, I could always run. I was always the winner in the sprints on school sports days. In primary school, I shone, and primary school is where I really stood out. Sprinting was my speciality. I would win a lot of medals on sports days, a lot of trophies, etc. Get a lot of attention, accolades. It was so much fun, you know, just running against your friends, and that whole vibration of sprinting as fast as you can, that whole wind in your hair, your fleet of foot, you know, it was like being in another world for me.
His fleet of foot got him a position in a professional rugby team at an unusually early age.
And by the time I reached secondary school, I was introduced to rugby league by a man called Mick Smythe, who was a physical education teacher. And at the same time, he was a coach of the school rugby team. And he noticed my speed and whatnot, my attitude, and he got me to try out for his team. And I can honestly say after that, the rest, as they say, is history, because he ran an open age team, and I was like 13, 14, which is like way too young. Open age is for like adults. And I was in that open age team. And what basically happened was I got heard about, and Yorkshire Scouts for the amateur Yorkshire squad, under 17 Yorkshire squad, found out about me and came down to watch. They liked what they saw, and they offered me trials up there, and went for trials. I didn't get in the first time, not through how I played, but because I was too young. I was still 14. So they said, come back next year and you're in. So next year I was in, and went through to Yorkshire under 19s, and through town representation, and then represented Great Britain as an amateur under 19s. Played a couple of matches there, and turned pro at 19. And I turned pro for Oldham Rugby League Football Club, my first club. And I can honestly say, the best times of my life, even though my life's not done yet.
His experience in rugby league helped shape his character and gave him the life skills he needed.
It was, the camaraderie was what I thrived on. The team spirit. Rugby league was my father figure. Rugby league taught me how to be a man. It taught me if I had a heart or not. It taught me how to respect other men. It taught me values of life and great life skills that I still use now.